welcome to you guys. You know, this is the Reimagine You Lab Podcast. It's me, MG. You guys know how we do. I want to welcome you, as always, to another amazing show. And can you guys believe it? I've got multiple guests. Something new is happening. Something amazing is going to take place. But before I jump in, you know what I have to tell you. All of the housekeeping today. Make sure that you are, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you do hit your subscribe button. Make sure you sit back, take it easy, get your glass of tea or whatever you like to drink, because today's conversation is going to be amazing. And it's a takeover, y'all. It's a takeover. Maurice Jenkins is in the building. Maurice, are you ready? Maurice, are you ready? This
I'm
is, you
ready.
guys. All right. This is the March is, you all know, it's International Women's Month. And this is the series, the lab is going to be invaded. It's being taken over by the Maurice Jenkins of Strategic Consulting. He is coming in. We have invited some amazing women from across the country, you all, that are so amazing, so influential, so impactful, doctors, amazing women that have done some great stuff this month for Women's History Month. We are talking to some amazing and phenomenal women, but we really want to we are indebted and we want to show a level of gratitude for all of the amazing things that women do. So this whole month, we are going to just really dive in and really kind of speak to and have conversations with on a number of topics. We're really going to just lean in and learn and what has been that impact and the influence that women have made not only to this country but to the lives of people that are not only doing well, but how do we change the structure of education? How are we impacting healthcare? How are we impacting what is going on in the areas of science and the advocacy, mental health? There's a broad lens of things that we want to talk about, and we're going to keep these conversations going even past Women's History Month, but we're starting here. So look forward to some great things that are going to come out of this, and the phenomenal women that you see here today. This panel, listen, y'all, just get ready. That's really all I can say. Maurice, take it away.
Thank you. Michelle, MG, the Reimagine Strategist. So my name is Maurice Jenkins Sr. I am the CEO and founder of Strategic Equity Consultants. I spoke with Michelle before in regard to I first started my company with my sisters as actually three of us, CEOs of the organization. And really excited to have an opportunity to share Women's History Month with some phenomenal ladies, some phenomenal leaders. And I think the reason I wanted to take over Michelle's show comes from my mother. She is a strong Black woman. And from that, I will introduce you to some strong Black women. But I was speaking with a colleague yesterday, and because I have such a strong Black mother is the reason I am able, and I feel that I am one of the best fits for this moderator role for these strong Black women, because as a Black man, you have to understand that Black women rule the world and you're to rule the world with them, but we can't do it without each other. So I want to introduce you to a team of people. The way we'll do this, ladies, I want you to take a couple seconds to introduce yourselves. And then what I'd like you to do is just answer the question that I'm going to pose. I have three questions for you all. We won't be able to talk long because we don't have a lot of time, but we have a plethora of content to go into these questions. I know, because once I start asking questions, I know the brain is going to start flowing. You guys are going to show them why you are such great at what you do. But I wanted to just tell you real quickly about myself. I started my own consulting firm because I want to be the aha for people that want to have DEI training, people that have racial equity training and questions. And I partnered myself with some ladies that are going to help me in this process. So this is just the beginning, as Michelle said, the jump off of what we're going to do. So without further ado, I will come back around at the very end and get some follow-up questions. But I want to ask you ladies 3 questions, 3 to 4 questions, and it's going to be a short round. So you know what? Relax, feel comfortable, and speak your mind, which strong Black women don't have a problem doing, right? Okay, so we're going to go round robin. Dr. Anderson, we'll start with you. My first question is, please introduce yourself and discuss how you see the work you do and how it represents Women's History Month.
So I'm Dr. Jerry Lee Anderson. I'm currently a principal of Bloom High School in Chicago Heights, Illinois. I've been an educator for a very long time, having taught from grades 4 to the postgraduate level, at the leadership level, and in the classroom. So I love the work I do. And when you talk about how does what I do have anything to do with National Women's Month, I touch the lives of young people every day. Hundreds on a daily basis, thousands over the years. And you think about it, not only preparing them from an educational standpoint to what they're going to do next in their lives, but also dealing with the things that they approach in life, equipping them to move forward and to be strong to support each other. The young ladies I interact with, that I try to be a role model for, try to be there for, a source of support, has a lot to do with Women's History Month, because they are our future. You can't have your future is based upon your history. So definitely that's how I feel the work I do touches National Women's History.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you, thank you. We're going to go next to Dr. Saga. Dr. Saga, please introduce yourself and tell us, please, you know, how some of the work that you do and how it represents Black Women's History Month.
Hi, my name is Dr. Ann Garrett Mills, also known as Dr. Asega. I have different names in different communities, and in part it's because I stand on the shoulders of so many women before me. So I even stand on the shoulders of women who are still living. And so I express myself by giving back to my community through the lens of what those women have taught me. The woman I think of today is my grandmother, Irma Kelly Johnson Hudson, who was, like Jerry, an administrator, an educator, and she shaped my life. I became a physician and I used my skills by practicing as the chief medical officer at Aurora Mental Health Center, but I'm also an educator and I educate doctors of the future. So I teach medical students, high school students who want to be medical students, train medical assistants, et cetera, with a lens toward how we can best improve mental health care in our community, but how we can lift as we improve and create more female physicians and caregivers so that we can knock out this health equity issue for women and for Black women in particular in this country.
Huge, huge. Thank you, Dr. Seg. I appreciate that. And then I'm going to round it out with Ms. Dana Dossett. Ms. Dana, you want to introduce yourself and please discuss how you see the work you do and then how it impacts Women's History Month.
For sure. Hello, my name is Dana Doucette, and I am in Little Rock, Arkansas now, and I am the Director of Community Programs for the City of Little Rock. And sometimes people ask, well, what does that mean? And that's exactly what it is, community programs for the City of Little Rock. And like the others, I work directly with people in the community to try to improve their quality of life. And the way that I see that impacts Women's History Month is that we have to start with the presence in order to have a past, even, and in order to start looking towards the future. So as I interact with the young ladies and the students and the women that I work with to improve their quality of life, it's showing them how they can get from point A to point B and what that looks like. And I take great pleasure in creating whatever type of programs that may look like, all the way from the nonprofits and the community organizations that we work with, our stakeholders, all the way down to the least of these, starting from children and the youth and as they grow up, and just really pouring into them to help them not only wherever they are, but by providing information, resources, and even showing them some of the other women in their community who have made a difference and who are ready to pass that torch on to them. And so that's how I see it, definitely being inclusive of Women's History Month.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Dana. Thank you. And then, I would be remiss, MG, if I did not ask you the exact same question, because without you, we wouldn't have this. Please let us know, a small introduction of what you do, and then let us know how you feel that the work you do and, how it represents Women's History Month.
Absolutely. Well, Maurice, when you think about some of the work that I do, so as MG, I like to say that I am as a reimagined strategist, the work that I do in whether it's publishing and working in digital spaces, as a digital strategist and working with in healthcare and working as a publisher, the work that I do is ever evolving. And so I help individuals and corporations in the work that they do in terms of electronically. We work with email, we work with text messaging. Those are new channels that we have. We didn't all start out with email and text messaging. These are things that have evolved over time. We weren't using StreamYard and websites to communicate what we do and who we are and how we work with individuals. But those are new mediums that we have grown accustomed to that, are now part of our daily lives and rituals. And so, the work that I do when I think about Women's History Month, what is going to be the future forward? And so that's the work that I do. And so I believe that there will be a time when these mediums that are part of my daily life now and showing it will be part of history. We will be looking back on these tools and we will be saying, we will be using something else. And so I think that this is the work that I do. It is leveraging these platforms, knowing how to use them, how robust they are, and at some point in time they'll be part of our history, and there'll be something that we'll be using in its place. And so that's the work that I do. And I love it. And I love showing people how to use it for the benefit of communications. That's the work that I do. So I love it for Women's History Month. We've got to know how to use it.
Okay. Lindsay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and just jump into this thing. And what I want to do, instead of picking on ladies, I want you all to share your insight when I ask this question. So whoever wants to start first, you can start first, just so that we have a natural flow of how we're going to do it. The first question is, how do you see women's impact on culture, and how does it relate to each other? I'll repeat the question. How do you see women's impacts of culture on how women relate to each other? Who wants to start us off with that answer? Don't make me pick you.
I'd love to start. I think when I think about any question like that, kind of those big picture questions, I like to make them smaller. So the first place I start is with the big picture. I think about the idea of Sankofa, looking back on women in culture and then moving forward. So Sankofa is an African idea of it's a bird that looks back in order to move forward. So looking back, I look at where the women that I come from, the women of the African American tradition come from, and how we have utilized all of the strengths around us to shape the culture around us. I think that is no secret to anyone that our imprint on culture is indelible. It is really clearly here in this country, you can see the impact that African American women have had. And then thinking about moving forward, the question is, given the strength and resources we have today, how are we going to impact the culture of the future? Let me just share. There is a young woman named Gracie who is following in the footsteps of the Black women before her, from Fannie Lou Hamer all the way through to today. And she is shaping the minds of young girls and women with her cartoon, which is very pro-Black and very much thinking and putting Black femininity at the center of things. So when I look at the trials of the past and the way that African American women have had to push our femininity to the forefront, I now look at what this young woman is doing. So I think we have had a long impact, regardless of the struggles we've had in the past and the things we're putting forward in the future. And I think it's really important to look at how we can do that in a positive way. I think people tend to focus on more negative imagery, but we have really pushed this culture forward.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? I One of the things that I think about when you think about culture and relating to each other, and as Ann had just shared, sometimes we do have there's a tendency to think or to share, or conversations have been shaped that when we relate to each other culturally, I'm going to say African American women, sometimes it is negative, but one of the things that I have seen more of, culturally, is women really coming together, and I've seen a lot of real focus around, women, African American women culturally really kind of locking arms. As a matter of fact, I've had an opportunity here recently to do more collaborating. As a matter of fact, this group coming together is an example to me of an amazing collaboration. Culturally coming together and saying collectively we can do more together. Like there's a great synergy that comes together. I believe that collaboration is currency, and current, like there's a flow, there's a great, I think there's a great impact that can be made when you see that. You see there's a great benefit to coming together. As a matter of fact, there I had, sometimes I think out of fear, there has been, or for whatever reason, I'm not going to say that it's fear, but I think people have been apprehensive before not to join forces, so to speak, or to even see. So I'm gonna use myself as an example. So I have a book that's forthcoming, and it's really about personal growth, but it's a beauty infused guide to personal growth. And so I said, I wanted to reach out to, I don't do makeup, like I like wearing makeup, but I'm not a makeup creator. But I said, it would really be cool if I could get with somebody who does makeup, just kind of to put this together. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna make a call. And I reached out to Kenyatta Gant, who is a cosmetics brand. She's a CEO of Pink Lips Cosmetics. And I said, hey, I would really love if you would read this book and give me some feedback on it, and see if you'd be interested in doing the foreword for me. And she was like, Michelle, I am so glad that you called me. Do you know that I was interested in writing a book myself? And this is it. And I was afraid to call her at first, but when I got, it was like it was perfect time, and the synergy and stuff was right. And I think sometimes our apprehension will keep us from doing things and working with other people and collab. And it just was a good confirmation to me that, what, be willing, be open, call, you know, reach out to people. And I think that if when we do more of that, usually good things happen. So I think that we can continue to make great impacts on our collective communities, by being open. So I think, I think we make a great impact on our culture, on the whole
Okay.
world, when I've seen us,
Right. Right.
do more. So
Introducing the must have book of the season, Girl Make Up Your Mind, a beauty infused guide to personal growth, written by the incredible Michelle Gines. This book is a game changer in the world of personal development. In Girl Make Up Your Mind, Michelle takes you on a transformative journey using makeup bag essentials as metaphors for self discovery and self improvement. From cleansing the beautiful canvas to fresh face forward, each chapter is packed with powerful lessons to help you unleash your inner beauty and confidence. But that's not all. Michelle has teamed up with Kenyatta Gant of Pink Lips Cosmetics to bring you an exclusive offer. Order your Girl Make Up Your Mind book and bag bundle today at www.girlmakeupyourmind.com and elevate your beauty inside and
that's my 2 cents.
Well, Dr.
Just
Anderson,
building on that.
let me ask you this question, Dr. Anderson. Just in the rounding of what MG just said, please tell us about education, how that has an impact. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think we definitely have a responsibility. I mentioned earlier role modeling, but teaching our young women to be proud of who they are and where they come from, and to respect themselves. That's just like a daily thing. You don't have to put everything out there to be beautiful. You're beautiful all by yourself. you know. I don't care if your hair is straight, curly, kinky, whatever you want it to be, whatever makes you feel good, that's exactly what you should look like, you know. So definitely with that in education and really trying to encourage our young people to, our young ladies especially, to uplift and build each other up, because it's too easy to go to that side thing, you know, the gossip and the backbiting and the fight. I'm like, fighting over me? Are you crazy? They ought to be fighting over you. No, 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 no. We're not going there. We're not having arguments about men. We're not doing that, because you are too important, you know, and really building that confidence. I think that as Black women, we have a responsibility to reach out and touch someone who's coming after us, you know, not just our own daughters and nieces, you know, but just young people in general. How do we help them see their, not only their importance of their place in the world, but have a value for who they are and where they come from? Yes.
I think that's strong. I appreciate that. Dan, round us out in regards to the community. Talk to us about your impact. What do you think it has on the culture?
Well, one thing that I think is important is that as a history, Black women have always been the lovers of everybody. You know, we have always reached out to other children that aren't our own, even children that totally weren't even our own race. As we know, there were several slaves that had to look after the master's children. So we've always been that motherly type that wants to take care of everyone and make sure that everyone is all right. And I think that part of our culture is happening even now, because I think there are several women who are reaching out to each other, just like Michelle said and the others said, is that we are reaching out to each other and we're creating that bond. In the past, it was because we had to in order to survive. But now I think we're doing it because we want to and we see the value in it. I do, certainly. And I think those of us who are here today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're doing it because we want to, we enjoy it, it brings value, a little bit because we have to keep it going. But I think that really is going to be impactful for us being able to make sure our voices are being heard. And they're being heard now in a mighty, mighty way. And I think that's directly related to a cultural aspect of it that has allowed us to continue to join together to make a difference in our own community.
Hey, Maurice,
I think
can I
that's
say something really quickly? I know you're taking over, but there's something that Dr. Anderson and that Dana and that MG and I think all of us represent that should be called out in light of Dana's comments. We are all leaders. We are all Black women leaders, and we are not the people that you see every day when Black women are being represented culturally. And I think the challenge is, how do we as leaders imprint that on the up and coming leaders? So I think about what Jerry said, you know, hey, we're not here arguing over these boys, young ladies. And I'm sorry, Dr. Anderson, I got very personal there because I was really vibing with what you said. But I think helping other African American women and all women really follow the positive examples that I think we are trying to set in our community. I will share that my leadership team, we're the second largest mental health center in Colorado. We're all female and we're from diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds, but we are an all female executive team. And nobody knows that, right? We're busy working on the mental health of young women, educating young women. We're trying to do what Dr. Anderson is doing. We're trying to set the example that Dana Dossett is showing in her community, from Chicago to Arkansas to Colorado to Florida. The four of us are all part of female collaborations and leadership. So I think it's just important to state that, boy, that's not what you see when you shuffle through your social media or whatever, but it is actually happening just as it has always happened in our community.
That's important.
I just want to say this real quick, because what you all have said is just touched something in me that I feel if I don't share from a male perspective, I think it'll be missed. I feel that as Black women leaders, that once you have an opportunity to have an all-female staff or an all-female crew, all Black, if you have an opportunity to have an all-female anything, I just implore you to have a male perspective, whether that would be a person that's the, what do you call them? They are the people that mentor, whether you have a mentor, whether you have a colleague, use some of that as a perspective, because all anything cannot be as great as can be without an advocate of the opposite sex, just to kind of keep you on track. Because all males, we all know that if we have anything that's going to be all male, we need some femininity in it, or it is what it is. So I really appreciate that, and I really garner the fact that all women's anything is phenomenal. Keep that counsel beside you, though, just so you have the other opportunity to ensure that you're looking at the whole picture. I think that's important. So I'm going to keep going on that. I want to make sure I mind our time. My next question, ladies, speaking of safety and security, this is a very, very large topic that MG started with in the beginning. Speaking of safety and security, let's talk real quick, and we don't have a lot of time because I have one more question I want to get to. Let's talk about how health and safety of women, of its importance. And that health and safety can be in any background, whether it's community, whether it's industry. Talk to me a little bit about that from your point of view, how safety and security is important to women.
I'll go ahead and
Dan,
start
I'm
because
gonna
I'd
have you
like
go
to
first.
start. Yeah, I'd like to start because that's also a space that I'm in because I also deal part of what I deal with in my department is public safety and how we can improve that. And unfortunately, we've seen an uptick on women and children lately, where in the past that wasn't like that. So it is very important because, again, I see women as being the caretakers of our communities. And when they're starting to be impacted, when they're starting to feel insecure, then they're staying inside and they're not wanting to go places. They're not wanting to expose their children to different opportunities. And so that has an effect downstream as well. So, and it's more than that. Then it starts having a problem, causing a problem with stress, with panic attacks and anxiety. And then that affects your work. It affects, I mean, it just really affects a lot. So even with, physical health and your own self, your mindset, all the way to public safety when you're out in the community and even when you send your children to school and you might be afraid of the safety and security that they have. I mean, it's a huge issue, of course, that definitely needs to be thought about carefully, and then making sure that you are looking for opportunities or ways that you can improve your physical safety, your personal health, the community health. Because if one person in the community is not doing well, then just like Martin Luther King said, if it affects the least of us, or even Jesus said that affects the least of us, it affects everybody. So yes, I agree that it's definitely a huge topic, a huge concern, a huge area that we all definitely need to be paying attention to.
I'd like to just add on to that. It's also how we help to take care of each other. I encourage young people all the time. You're out with a group of young ladies. You don't leave that young lady out there. You leave with her, you come home with her. You support each other when you're out. You look out for each other. You don't let each other, step off into something that could be a risk or to be dangerous. We have to teach our young people really to care and cultivate. And we as women, as even as we get older, we need to be able to care, reach out, understand and be concerned about each other's well-being, because that really does matter and that makes a difference. It also just helps, when it comes to a person's not just their well-being but their confidence. Just take care of each other. We need to do more of that.
Yeah.
I think I'll jump in here too. I think it's really important for us to remember during Women's History Month that women are suffering from the greatest level of inequity, especially Black women in this culture in every realm of human existence. And so I feel very passionate about the safety of women and the safety of Black women. I feel passionate about us being heard when we say we're not safe, either emotionally, physically, spiritually, sexually, any way that we are not safe. And I feel passionate that we can support each other. There are two genders that we know of, right? That we come as human beings. And all other things aside, we know that there are men and there are women, generally speaking. And within those gender paradigms, women are particularly unsafe in many communities, but also unheard and unbelieved. And yet, around other women, we can be heard and believed. So it does, as Dr. Anderson said, take a village of women, and we have to reach across generational space and other kinds of spaces to listen to women. And it is my great hope that we will do that, that women, when they are in trouble, will have some other female person that can reach out and talk to, because I think a lot of times we don't recognize that we're unsafe. I talked to a woman yesterday who was giving me her birth story. A lot of women who have had children can relate to this, and how she was really treated very poorly in the hospital. Then there are women who are in relationships who are being treated poorly, and there are so on and so forth. It's really important that we reach out to one another, connect, and talk about these things. Sometimes people don't even know they're being abused or harmed. So it takes the village to keep us safe. And we have to have structures all through our communities, from our church structures to our school structures to our healthcare structures, to be able to support one another around the issues of health and safety.
Well said.
I want to add one thing here too, kind of really to piggyback on what Ann just shared. I share this with groups often, especially groups of women. And I say that we know that there are going to be a minimum of 6 people that are going to carry us out of this life. And on the back of the funeral program, they are called pallbearers. And I often tell women, especially, to make sure that you have at least 6 people carrying you in this life. Make sure that you have some folks that you can talk to regularly. And I'm not and some real people that you can connect with. Not just people that you're posting photos with on Facebook, but some real people that you can be transparent with, some real people that you can, when you make a phone call, that it's not just, for, we're just gift and gabbing about, what's the weather like on the outside, but we're really having some real conversations, because Ann and I know, all of us know, that mental health is a crucial aspect of women's overall well-being. Like, Maurice, I know you and men, I know men struggle too, but women, it's particularly important for us to address it during Women's History Month, ensuring our safety and security. That's a part of it. It involves in creating those supportive environments where our mental health needs are prioritized and addressed, and it includes, whatever resources, whatever destigmatizing things that we need to seek help, and sharing that we need that help. You know what I mean? Whatever challenge, anxiety, depression, whatever trauma is disproportionately affects women. And so I just, want to put that out there. Make sure you got your 6 people. Maybe it's 5,
Listen,
but just
MG,
make sure you got your people.
look, that is so huge. That is huge. I just want to say this real quick to round this out, because Women's History Month cannot be successful if men do not strengthen the women in their lives. The whole goal is, if these women need to feel safe and secure, then it's our responsibility, men, I'm talking to you. It's our responsibility to do our part to ensure that they're safe and they're secure. I'm gonna leave it at that. But that's something that we have to do during Women's History Month and throughout the year. We need to ensure that
Yes.
we do our part, right? We do our part to make sure they're safe and secure. But I was gonna say, MG, it sounds like we got a couple more podcasts coming out based on some of the content out of this right here. But listen, I gotta hurry because we only got 4 minutes left. I have my last question. So, ladies, real quick,
Okay.
we're gonna have to be a minute on this. Each of you have strong characters, strong competencies, and obviously strong confidence in regard to these conversations that we've had. What I like to do is to find out why is it important to continue this history and legacy of Women's History Month. Based on your backgrounds, why is it important that we continue this legacy?
We don't want to forget where we've come from, because when you forget where you come from, you forget where you're going, you forget about your pathway. So we always have to remember that women have had struggles throughout time. We continue to have struggles, but that doesn't mean that we don't fortify ourselves and get ready to move forward with the best of us, with all of us. So definitely we need to keep it going.
And then building on what Jerry has
Well
said,
said.
I work with nonprofits and I work with complete organizations. So I look at it from how can we affect an entire community, definitely from a local community, but then branching out to the state and then to the nation and ultimately to the world. So I see it having a ripple effect, and that's my part of it.
I would say I really want to give a message to all of my peers, all of my feminine peers. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Again, find those 6 people that MG suggested that you find, or find those institutions. If something is not working, go backward and look for help. Never be afraid to look for help, and never be the all to everyone without being the all to yourself first.
And I would say that, you know what, we all captured something from something that we seen. You know, like we didn't get to where we are without having had something that we were able to latch on to, or that we gained from. So we have to leave something behind for somebody else, those that are coming up behind us. We owe it to those who gave us something to start with. We owe it to those that are coming up behind us to leave something for them to latch on to. So we're paying it forward. Like we have to. Like legacy, we didn't get here by ourselves. So we shouldn't expect to not leave something for those who are coming up behind us. So legacy is important. We were given
Huge.
something, we've got to leave something behind.
This has been the most phenomenal opportunity to lead this conversation amongst you phenomenal women. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. I allow you to be a part of your lives as we are off camera. Thank you so much for that, because we will rule the world. We do already. We have from the past to the future. I want to thank you all for what you do and what you're going to do. MG, I released my takeover. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'll let you close.
Maurice, this has been the best. You know what? I will let you take over anytime, Maurice. This was good. This was good. Oh, you guys, you have to make sure that you tune in. This is going to be the series for the month of March, Women's History Month. We are just making sure that we are calibrating these conversations. You are in for a real treat. Ann Garrett Mills, MD, Dr. Asega. You've got Dr. Jerry Lee Anderson, Dana Dosset, and the Takeover King, Maurice Jenkins Sr. is coming back. This is you're going to get more than you even bargained for. The conversations are going to be around so much more. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. You're going to have to come back every Friday, to drop in here, the Reimagine You Lab Podcast. Me and Ann's having a conversation. Me and Dr. Jerry Lee's having a conversation. Me and Dana Doset's having a conversation. Me and Maurice is having a conversation. So you guys make sure that you tune in. Make sure that you subscribe. If you got something out of this conversation, make sure that you share it with your friend, your colleague, your mama, everybody that you know. Make sure that you give it to them. And I just want to say that I love and appreciate you for coming in. Thank you for helping us get to all of the many subscribers that we want. We want to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the month of March. So help us do that by sharing. I love you all. You have been a blessing to me and to every one of these guests. These are some phenomenal women. I love you all. Thank you, audience, for tuning in. I will see you here next Friday. God bless you.